right, so like I said, we're going to be filling in this chart right here. So I'm going to be talking about these three different types of angles: vertical angles, corresponding angles, and then supplementary. You should already know what supplementary means, but we're going to go through it in just a moment. So let's start out with corresponding. So make sure you are on the right row or column. So you don't have to write this definition down, but I do want you to go ahead and draw this picture under picture and label the letters where they are. So corresponding angles are congruent angles, meaning they are the same. So where it says congruent, you're going to write down yes or no. I'm going to give you a hint right now. It's not no. Okay, so what it is are congruent angles formed when a transversal intersects parallel lines. So here in the blue, we have our two parallel lines. Okay, and then this transversal, this green transversal cuts it. Okay, so corresponding angles, this angle A and angle B, they are the same. So if this was 100 degrees, okay, the other one is also going to be 100 degrees. So how do we know that? Well, corresponding angles are angles that are in the same position. So as you can tell, this angle A right here, it's below the blue parallel line. Angle B below that is also below the other parallel line. And guess what? They're on the same side of that green transversal. They're both on the right-hand side. So they're in the same position. They're both on the right-hand side and they're both below the parallel line. That's how we know if it's a corresponding angles. Because in English, correspond means similar to, in the same position, okay? So I'm going to draw a different pair of corresponding angles. So I'm going to go ahead and erase angle A and B. Okay? I'm going to draw another pair of corresponding angles in red. So let's say this angle right here is below the parallel line, but on the left-hand side of that transversal. So what's another angle that is below a parallel line, but on the left side of the transversal? That's this angle right here. So those two are corresponding angles. Another pair of corresponding angles. Let's say this black angle. Well, it's corresponding. It's on top of that parallel line, but on the right. So another angle that's on top of the parallel line, but on the right, is this black angle. So that is a corresponding angles. So you should have told me that they are congruent and drawn a picture like the one on the smartboard right now so that you know what corresponding angles are. We're going to go ahead and move on to vertical angles. We've already seen this before, but we just didn't know what the name of it was. So vertical angles are congruent angles. So yes, they are the same amount of degrees each, and they're right across from each other. We learned this just a few slides ago. So again, we have our blue parallel lines cut by that green transversal. So just give me a minute to draw that green transversal. Okay, so now angles C and D are congruent. That means they're right across from each other. So this red angle, if we said that was 100 degrees now, then angle D would also be 100 degrees because they're right across from each other. Okay, the reason they're called vertical angles is they kind of look vertical to each other. They're kind of right across from each other. So I'm going to go ahead and show you another pair of vertical angles. So the one right next to that 100 degrees we know is 80 degrees because it makes up a line, a 180 degree line. The one across from that is also 80 degrees. Look at that. It's right across from each other. Okay, so angles across from each other are vertical angles. So it's important that you know that. So again, you should have filled out, yes, they are congruent, and drawn the picture on the smartboard slide. Again, if you need time to go ahead and draw this picture, you can just ask the sub to go ahead and pause, give you guys about 47 seconds, okay, I'm counting, and draw that picture. Our last angle that we're going to be learning about are supplementary angle pairs. Okay, so we know that supplementary means two angles that add up to 180 degrees. So it says angle G is supplementary to angle J. That means they make 180 degrees, which they do because these two angles right here make a straight line, so they have to add up to 180. Now it tells me to find other angles that are supplementary to J. So we want to find other angles that make a line with angle J. Well, angle J is in red, so I'm going to go ahead and draw that angle measure. Okay, that's angle J. I want to find three other angles, or other angles, that are supplementary to it. Well, we know that G, they already gave it to us, is supplementary to it. Okay. We also know that D, right here, these two angles, J and D, make up 180 degrees. Okay. So we know J and G, J and D, and J and B, and that's all that make. Those are all the angles that are supplementary to J. So again, two angles that add up to 180 or make a line.